An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come.
The position sounds like a hiding.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grub. My eyesight? Yes, I did. And you opened it. I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM. I did.
We have entered a world where he said you shouldn't. It is the only world.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a 3-angong, 4...
Southeast Samoan made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle.
A Samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk. What?
He's right. Almost no one remembers there was a third metastasis of the world revolution in the Safre Empire. Extinguished, it's almost as if they were never there. Only the rifle remains, cradled by the old man.
Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. Have you come to make me one of them?
His right eye twitches. With what? Fear?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
It's a good line, but your voice slips on, Commander, producing a little...
A big-time operator of the pederast army. How about I keep it?
The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's forehead.
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand, he stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real Proletkult. That's loud.
Marching song. Forget about that for a moment. You need to address that remark first.
The job of a shitlicker. There you go. 1 of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was... Everyone has. They named a fucking perfume after it. A fucking perfume.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46 mm.
The right type and the right caliber.
4.46 mm. 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 The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motion. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession.
My name is Joseph Lilianovich Dross, political commissar of the 100. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my...
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
43 years. No. I've been on other islands too. I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. Well done. I won't explain it to a minion of capital. It's not an island, what? It's a defensive fortification of the commune of The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're our CM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Iblis? The black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble puts...
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked up.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they...
You also have Druamine.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer more. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in...
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. It's disgusting. It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, and others too, some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker. I used...
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs.
The old man looks across the water at the city.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
You're insane. Radio shows, speed racing, sporting goods. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer, trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the...
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology. He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're part of the meat shield. The human shield that surrounds...
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. The expression on his face is unreadable. There's some sort of interference. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even...
43 years and 10 months. It's inhuman. It's sick. It's not how a human being should live. But I have...
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting. Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. I am not a fool. I know. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load.
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left. There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist? I've used it to kill.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. This is what you live for. The great serotonin, Jack. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you.
I don't want to tell you anything.
And why did you think that was a good idea?
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The worm there? In the monster armor you took from him? An ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect oak. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to...
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You...
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Stupid dwat.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes.
Matter does not behave in such a way. Those are aberrant bourgeois musings. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist. Perhaps you suspected it before you took... The vision was you remembering that. Was it supposed to? The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface. No, the miracle is still waiting. This is... You are. Soon it will happen.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, huh?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons?
He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this, when you have the murder weapon.
Murder.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's. You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like... Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken...
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier. With the victim.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are?
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Duras.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sensorique, and the size is 42. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern souls you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that then.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flicking. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly,
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to her, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights, both of them, him and the whore. I was breathing with them. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white. Or what's left of it, anyway. And so they did.
Mr. Duras, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man not.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Yes. Think of it as a form of...
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift. Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley.
Joyce. He means Joyce.
Wrinkled up whore. Black sexual morals are a bourgeois ploy. As to pederasty, so don't you sermonize me, you racist shithole. It's still bourgeois when the bourgeois does it.
Some strange glandular process takes place in him at the thought, like yeast.
They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and masked phalanx weren't conscripts. Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing, in the burning years, I would take shots at them. I could see they've returned now to show their real face. The face they don't dare show their bourgeois voters back on Mundi with their families and polyester clothes. Them fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to...
This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood, to punish her.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
The old man raises his gaze. Something glimmers in the corner of...
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy out.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she would. Her passport and tickets to Villiers.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near...
After she was gone.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I put them back.
This implies that he's thought about extort. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
It didn't say Clausia in there. It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember if... Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers.
There it is again. The strange neurological state he's sometimes in.
I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks. And a body hard and lean. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revershal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo. And glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises, you can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
He must have climbed to the roof, maybe.
I have my ways.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling rags. Those were your footprints.
I've been through all of Martinez.
Thank God, the lieutenant is picking it up.
But that Nook too?
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. You'd turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
There's nothing to hold on to.
The coals of his eyes glistened suddenly, like stones dripping with water.
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. No. I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of our room on the floor, the day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore. Maybe, I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here, wait. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days. Good for her. That girl kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at night, crying or smoking on the roof, like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens the familiar put of hatred.
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez... Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening pump full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that social democrat. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. They're intense, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now, her gun-toting porcelain men are. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old, every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamoran, or some other island they built their power. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue, the bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? The king was a congenitally deformed adulterer. The party had his monuments detonated with plastic explosive until some advertising cockroaches used their accumulated capital to erect a new, ironic version of it.
Wait, the bullet hole in Philippe's heart. The statue had been shot. It had to be. He's already proven capable of taking a far more complicated shot from here.
I did. A needless, sentimental gesture. I should have spared the...
Yes, shameful. So many others to punish over the years. Isn't that right, detective?
The fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it, too.
He keeps having opinions about the union's leadership.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. Of royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his... What is there to be agitated about? The unholy ghoul. I love it there. He reminds me of everything we fought for. At least we killed Afristel and his kingsman. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the...
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass.
Edgar.
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to...
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
You can't live alone.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they?
That's around the time the Clares came to power.
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something. Oh no, the connection doesn't come to you. On such a Dumbo, do something. You can't zone out now. Slap yourself in the head again. Jumpstart it.
Officer!
He quickly realizes what is happening.
Mr. Dross, about this deal you made with Edgar. The death of the colonel mercenary was only coincidentally beneficial. What about the other people you've killed for them?
Other people?
Like the previous 4 women of the Union.
That's it. That's what you weren't connecting yourself.
I didn't fight 40 years to end up an informant for the international regime.
Still dumb. Your eyes are transfixed on his digits. It's yellow. You are the law. He must divulge the information.
Look who's up. From the drunken stupor. This one's worse for wear than me. And so...
We will have plenty of time to talk about this later, Mr. Dross. When you're in pre-detention, it can take years.
Go ahead. I've been in solitary confinement my whole...
Ease off it. This was not an unmitigated disaster. The lieutenant mitigated it.
Horse. Glad. It's all gone.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are loose. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
I don't know what that is. Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane...
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal... Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. What?
What are you talking about? Is this...
Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes, and you feel the lieutenant's hand on your back, and then
I can see it.
Thank God. If he can see, then you're not in. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from his head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else in a lower pitch.
It is.
You glance over your shoulder. The lieutenant holds a piece of milled aluminium. No, the flash will scare the creature off. Warn him now.
We need a photo. No one will believe us.
From the corner of your eye, you see a sudden cascade of motion ripple through the phasmid's limbs, a series of ultrasonic clicks.
I won't be one of those fools who didn't take a picture.
You see the phasmid turn to him, its mandible antennae reaching out. Its motions are quick, sudden.
I don't think the pheromone will do anything.
The spindly mechanism turns itself back to you, its antennae taking their measure of the air. Slowly. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature's sweat drips from your brow, soaking your chest. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in, and hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned.
Maybe it is real, the pheromone.
About now, he is ready to believe in anything. The insect's head is crowned with reed-like scales, the shape of seed heads. They rustle as the air moves. The ventricles breathing you in, your sour, greasy semiochemicals on the breeze. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion. Suddenly, there is silence. As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are praying to you. Unwittingly, the insect continues its stridulations. As it moves, tuft-like structures, still pretending to be plants, rustle along on its joints. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be... You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. The faintest smell, like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, letting out that same smell, like summer burning.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Fire? Where? I do not have fire inside me. In me, there is not even blood. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sound. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like that even when you're sleeping, and when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. That must be incredibly hard. The arthropods are in silent and meaningless awe of you. Know that we're watching. When you're tired, when the vision spins out of control, and when you fall, we will come to raise you up. Bud from you, banner-like, blossom from you and carry you apart in a sky funeral, in honor of your passing. So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am this. No, you're awake. I am real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth.
Wait, so... Yes, of course. The 3 meters tall stick insect would be a fen.
I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodia, endemic to the Insulandian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight. No one unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also, by the soldiers of the revolution and officials of the... I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the... No. You are the moral of our encounter is... I am a relatively medium life form, while you are extreme, all-engulfing madness. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe up. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago. When organ...
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thought.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget? No, you're only thinking it now. This is a revelation. Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. Okay. Is it somehow related to the case? I think we should take the picture, and then you should back away from the unstudied species.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. She was held on Earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant.
I got it.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the kiting curls into... The sensation is electrifying. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young bud.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen. The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. Warning! A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten. There is some kind of countdown happening as it slowly processes the overwhelming bright hair. Within the smooth white inner part of its limb, you sense something very intimate.
The nervous system could be spread out like that, over the extremities, like a cuttlefish.
Or a rhyocinta, an occidental leaf insect with its brain stored in 4 leaf-like extensions. Or a mimicry octopus. It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you, odorless, mostly comprised of water. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying mode. As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror, and something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds.
It's gone. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only... looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
Brother, You've managed to collect all the armor pieces. Too bad it's too late for the big showdown. It would have looked very impressive. Still, you found it all. Now your mortal coil is complete. This passport, issued by the Sovereign Republic of Oranje, is issued to a...
Classia's hidden documents. From the empty boy.
It's Clausia, with short black hair and glasses. She looks boyish, young.
Maybe our man, Mr. Dross, took it from Classia's, or whatever her name was. Hiding place, or... Like a magpie? What a coincidence. Then it would also have collected the other object.
By now, the lieutenant has accepted your unusual...
I can see how the helmet could wash up on the island. And the scope. Maybe Mr. Dross lost it. But to seek this out would be...
A curious octopus would do something similar. Or even a cuttlefish.
An octopus belongs to a very different class. It's not even an insect, it's a mollusk. But yes, I see your point. She said it would be for Anouk Meyer-Smith. Anouk Meyer...
Katarzyna Alazia was supposed to be her real name. Where Clausia comes from. I told you she kept lying to you. She's probably lying to someone else right now. In another city.
No, she lied to us. Her so-called real name was not her real name. Somehow she's managed to lie to us about that too. I don't know. But it's not Katarzyna Alazia, or Clausia, or Anouk Meyer-Smith. We didn't even scratch the surface. Perhaps it's better that we didn't arrest her. Who knows what hell she'd be raising in my district by now.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now.
See.
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their socket, like an addict of some terrible substance. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem.
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid. Old age and shock. Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that?
Quite a few things about that health check you did on him make sense now.
That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here.
No response.
He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, it does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. You should be more careful, detective. Are you sure it wasn't having an effect on you? A valid hunch. Long-term exposure to something like that could be neurodegenerative. Also, please be careful when approaching unknown species in the future, detective. Like a drug? His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are. You mean pheromonal? The scope, knowing of her bruises, his disposition toward Miss Oranje? I see what you mean. He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him, like he didn't want to leave this place, and I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo.
No one would believe you without it. He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Nothing. Just dull staring.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, The ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the phasmid even. If it...
No reaction. His breathing is slow, and he appears... This is an old man, at last. No longer a tin soldier.
Did you take this passport and other papers from a boy on the coast?
The spirit.
He hears us. The spirit?
No reply. He's gone again.
Try something else? We got him back for a moment.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie phasmid? This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you...
Silence. Not even a sigh. The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal. The strength has all gone out of him. Just frail old bones in a sack of tracksuit trousers.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.